Being able to climb a V3 is an incredible milestone and you should definitely celebrate it. Unfortunately, a lot of us don't feel like we're consistently reaching that V3 grade. And we find that some V3s are much harder and almost impossible compared to others that we've successfully sent. If you're in that situation, I'd like to challenge you, instead of focusing on the grade, focus on the skills that you're learning that are necessary for climbing that grade. There are 4 main skills that you need to be able to climb V3s, and we're going to go through those skills today. I'm also going to include a little bonus at the end that you can start working on now. It's a skill that you'll need for climbing V5s, but it's something that you can start right now, and I think it would be really helpful. So let's go ahead and get started with skill number 1, and that is switching your feet. There are 4 main ways that you can switch your feet. The first one is probably the most common that you see, and it's going to require a little bit of finger strength, and that's where you're just going to lift up your one foot and you're going to place the other one there. So for a moment, you don't have any feet on the wall. The second one is called squish, and that is exactly what it sounds like, where you're going to place one foot on top of the other and you're going to squish it out of place. It's not very comfortable, but it works really well in a lot of situations. The third one is smearing, and smearing is only applicable in the gym because what you're going to be doing is placing the foot that you like on the hold slightly above it, and as you move the other foot out, you're going to slide it into place. The fourth one is probably my favorite, and it's probably the easiest, and that's when you're going to side set your foot. So you have a slightly larger foothold and you can place your other foot next to the foot that you are switching out. In these situations, you may need to wiggle your foot to one side so that you can actually fit your second foot on it, or you may need to cross your foot through, but both of those ways work really well. The next skill set that you should be practicing is pivoting, and this is something that you're probably already doing, but you need to be more intentional about it. It requires precision with your toes, so you need to make sure that you're placing your toe on the hold and not the ball of your foot. Pivoting is especially important if you're trying to reach the next hold. If you're on an overhang, for example, getting your hip against the wall will give you some additional length so you can actually reach the next hold much easier. And to be able to do that, you need to be able to pivot your body, pivot your feet onto the outside of your foot, onto your pinky toe. The next skill is smearing, and this is something that's probably most applicable when it comes to slabs and when you're starting a climb. I find a lot of climbing gyms, when it comes to V2s and V3s, they put 2 footholds where if you use one of those footholds for each foot, it's going to make the start really hard. What they're trying to teach you is to use one foothold on, and then you're going to smear the other foot. So you'll place the foot against the wall and put pressure against it so you can move up. Sometimes holds seem like holds, but they're so slopey that it's more like you're smearing on that hold. In those cases, make sure that you are using your weight above your feet. As soon as you move your body weight away from the smearing foot, that foot will probably slip. And that actually happened while I was filming for this video. What happened was my left foot was smearing on a sloper hold and I was reaching over to the right. My hips moved and thus my weight moved. Because of that, I didn't have the weight on the smearing foot and it slipped out. The solution for this is to make sure that you maintain pressure on that smearing foot. So make sure if your left foot is smearing, as long as it needs to be smearing and it's holding your body up, put weight in that foot. Smearing is also applicable with flagging, and that's not a skill we're talking about today, but if you're interested in learning about flagging, I did make a video for that. I will link it in the description below. The next skill is probably my favorite skill and what I think may be the most helpful when it comes to V3s. That is the rockover. The rockover is when you are transferring weight from one foot to the other. Oftentimes we need to reach out to the right, maybe a little bit further, and the solution is to put more of our weight on the right side. We can do this by literally moving our hips over that foot. And in some scenarios, you might move your hips slightly past that foot as well by pointing your knee out a little bit further. I find this is extremely helpful in slabs, but it's also really helpful if you're using really crimpy holds and your fingers are getting tired. You can place more weight in your feet by actually rocking over those feet, and putting more focus in the feet will give some relief on your hands, and I find that really helpful in almost every V3 that I did while filming this video. And for the bonus skill, it is helpful and I use it to climb V3s, but it is a skill you'll definitely need for climbing V5s. So if you start practicing it now, you'll have that foundation and it will be a lot easier for you to level up up to those higher grades. The skill is called drop knees. Essentially, you'll have two good footholds where you can place all of your weight in your feet. You literally twist your foot, so you're doing that pivot movement. Your pinky toe will go towards the wall and your knee will go down. This is a skill that you really need to practice pivoting to be able to do, because if you don't properly pivot your toes, you could injure your knee. Once you get these skills down, the grade will come. You'll find that consistently climbing V3s is going to be a lot easier. If you have questions about this, or you're wondering what you need to do next in your climbing journey, be sure to share a comment below so I know what video you want to see next. I also made a video that is all about going from a V0 to a V3 in as little as 2 weeks. If you like this video, you're definitely going to like that video, so be sure to check it out. Thank you for watching, be safe, and enjoy climbing.